Killing this boss is not fun. I didn't enjoy the process of learning this fight. It wasn't exciting, it wasn't empowering, and it certainly wasn't comfortable. And that isn't a flaw. In fact, that's the point. Most conversations about games like this get flattened into the same few categories: difficulty, accessibility, and or enjoyment. And while those are real concerns, they completely miss what certain games are actually doing. The challenge in a game like this is not there to entertain you. It's not there to deliver dopamine or to make sure you're always having a good time. It's there to ask something of you. These games aren't primarily testing your skills. They're testing your resilience, your patience, your willingness to stay present when things stop feeling good. And that's a very different kind of design goal. Take this fight as an example. You walk into the arena blind. The first gargoyle appears, and it seems manageable. Difficult, sure, but readable. And then the second one spawns, and everything changes. Suddenly it's poison clouds, overlapping attacks, awkward camera angles, and long stretches where nothing seems to go right. It's messy, it's exhausting, it's not elegant, and that is intentional. Because at this point, the fight stops being about execution and starts being about something else. It becomes a question. Not, are you good enough? But, do you believe in yourself enough to stay? This fight might be mandatory, but getting here wasn't. At some point, you chose to keep going, knowing the game was not going to get any gentler. The game didn't promise you anything for clearing it, no cinematic payoff, no reassurance that it'll be worth it. You stay because you decide that you can, and because you decided that you will win. That's what the game is actually asking. Games like this aren't about being hardcore. They aren't about proving superiority. They aren't even really about mastery in the traditional sense. They're about the demands placed on you as a person and whether you're willing to meet them. They ask you to sit with frustration, to fail without reassurance, and to keep going without being told you're doing a great job. And in doing that, something subtle happens to you as a player and as a person. The meaning doesn't come from the game itself. It comes from repetition, from persistence, from frustration, from the quiet decision not to quit when no one would blame you for doing so. The game does not celebrate you for climbing its mountains. It doesn't validate your effort. It doesn't care how long it took you. Instead, it changes you irrevocably. By the time you reach the end, the reward isn't victory. The reward is that you're not the same person who started the journey. You've learned something about your limits, about your patience, about who you are when things stop being pleasant and start being demanding and no longer fun. That meaning is self-made, and that is why it matters. This is also why video games are a unique artistic medium. Movies can show struggle. Books can describe interiority. Music can evoke emotion. But none of them can ask you to act. None of them can require persistence. None of them can sit silently while you decide whether to walk away or stay with them. Only games can say, you chose to be here. You're choosing to stay. Now live with that choice. That's not a spectacle. That's a relationship and a dialogue. And it's something no other medium can ever come close to replicating. And this is also why games like this make people uncomfortable. Because they expose things we'd rather not look at. Impatience, avoidance, ego, and our own limits. They don't adapt themselves to protect your feelings. They don't reassure you that everyone is meant to finish. They simply present the demand and wait. That doesn't make them cruel, it makes them honest. Discomfort isn't bad design. Discomfort without intention is. When this fight finally ends, there's no triumph, no release, no fanfare. It's quiet, almost anticlimactic. The game doesn't care how long it took. It doesn't care how frustrated you were. It doesn't even really acknowledge what you just did in any major way. And that's why it's special. Because it isn't trying to be liked. It isn't trying to comfort you. It's asking a real question. And it doesn't flinch from the answer.